and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to this psychic reading, which is long overdue for Kendrick Lamar. Finally, this has to be up there with one of the most requested readings I've had since probably the day I started my channel, and I can't believe I've actually left it this long. But let's get into it. I'm really excited. So if you do enjoy this reading on Kendrick, please do hit a lovely thumbs up. Leave some love for Kendrick down in the comments below. If you do enjoy psychic and spiritual content, then what are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join our lovely community. We are lovely over here and we enjoy all things psychic and spiritual. And if you do, you may want to follow me over on my Instagram at @IamKirstyLewis. If you'd like your own personal and private reading with me, you can also email me for more information at kirstylewisreadings@outlook.com. But let's get into reading for Kendrick. Okay, so there's a lot of complexity as I tap into Kendrick's energy. I feel like there's a lot of personal things that have been going on in his life, like personal changes. I do feel there's a baby around him. I know it was reported that he did recently last year have a child, but I also feel like there's a new pregnancy as well. I also feel like he may have actually tied the knot and finally got married. I feel like just there's a lot of personal changes as a man that he has been going through, as well as dealing with loss, grief, mental health, depression. There's a lot of stuff that within him internally Kendrick Lamar has been going through. I feel like he's been through a real period of growth and transition, and a lot of it doesn't feel very easy. Kendrick Lamar is someone who cares very much about people. He doesn't really show his emotion externally. Like if you were to watch Kendrick, he's very like poker face. He doesn't show his emotion externally very much. He's actually quite private and reserved as a person. But if he lets you in, my goodness, and he loves you, like he will shower you with complete love and adoration. He's also a very knowledgeable man, and I feel like he spends a lot of time reading in the books and with his headphones on and listening to Audible and audio and lots of that kind of stuff. He is a knowledge seeker, and he has lots of like idols who are, you know, complete game changers, like Albert Einstein and Frederick Douglass, and he looks up to these big figures and he feels a lot of pressure on himself, and he puts a lot of pressure on himself. There's a lot of like, even though he's given something his all, it's never enough, and he does really have that like angel and devil on his shoulders. Like one side of him is like well done, and then the other side's like not good enough, and he really battles with himself. He's got this real inner conflict going on of like that constant kind of negativity eating at himself, telling himself he's not doing good enough, he's not doing good enough. I also feel like there's probably not one album that he could give us, there's probably about 5. And I also feel that the next album, when it does come, and it is coming, but because of his perfectionism it is being delayed, as well as all of these personal things that he's going through, I don't feel like it will just be like a 13-track album. I feel like there may be 3 albums. He may release 3 albums, or he may release an album that has 30 songs on it. There's going to be something very different in terms of how long the album is, because I feel like he's just laid down so many tracks. He's written so much music. I also want to give Kendrick Lamar a separate movie project as well, because I feel like he's also writing a soundtrack. This could actually even be his own movie. He's working on some kind of project to do with a movie. Now I know he worked on Black Panther, but there is another movie he's working on. It could be Black Panther 2. It is something to do with black culture. I do feel heavily tied to that as I connect with this project. As I want to talk about that and the racial injustice and all of the political issues that we've been seeing recently over in the States, Kendrick has taken a lot of that to heart, and you're going to see a lot of that reflected in his music, as well as the losses he's experienced in his life through losing Nipsey Hussle. But I feel like he's also lost some other people in his life. I feel like in some ways the album is going to be quite emotional for him. Like he does bear a lot of himself in his music anyway, but there's just something that feels very raw about the next album. There's no holding back, and I feel like he is a perfectionist. He's not going to release it until it is absolutely perfect, and I'm being drawn to July 2021 as I link with Kendrick Lamar actually releasing new music. Kendrick Lamar, sorry, as always, I'm empathically connected to him, so I will pull the cards, but I just want to connect in on his energy first. Let's actually pull as I speak. He really battles with celebrity and fame, and he's not about that life. Like, he's really not about that life. He doesn't like the fact that even though he has idols, like I said, big idols like Einstein and Frederick Douglass, like people who have done amazing things for the planet and humanitarians, he really wants to go down that route, I feel, of, oh, well done, Kirsty, that's it, drop the whole deck on the floor, why don't you? Okay. Squeeze me, sorry about that. Yeah, he really wants to go down this whole route of like charitable work and organisation and actually make a difference and make change. And he really struggles with the superficial, like the superficial world of music. Like, he loves music and he loves artistry, and Kendrick Lamar is an artist, but he really does struggle with like the superficial side to it, you know, like the following on Instagram. He hates that. He hates like social media, and he hates people actually looking up to him, although he does want to do great things and basically make change. He doesn't want people to idolise him. He doesn't feel comfortable with that. So yeah, okay, Kendrick Lamar. Okay. Yep, that's really interesting. Kendrick Lamar. So he's really taken the weight of like what's going on in the world and what has been going on in the world this year especially, you know, on his shoulders. He carries the weight of the world on his shoulders because he does really care about the way he's perceived as an artist. He cares, like, he doesn't just want to be someone who's out here being flashy, showing off their cash. Like, he really doesn't like that. I can't express anymore the hatred he has for, like, just, you know, really flashy people who flash all their cars and flash their mansions and flash their money. He really despises that, and it's that battle. He's like, I can't make music without, you know, being a celebrity. He's like, people follow me and therefore I have that celebrity status, but he doesn't like it, and he really has battled with that. Okay, let's read the cards and then I'll pick the Moonology for him, because he is a very deep person. I was really drawn to this deck for him, the Moonology deck. He is intuitive, he is spiritual, he is deep, he is very good at, he can read a room, you know, he is very intelligent, very wise. He's a very wise soul. And I feel like Kendrick Lamar's soul and energy has probably walked this earth many times. Okay, there is an insecurity of Kendrick Lamar of not being good enough. Now, the Eight of Wands talks about opportunities. It talks about career opportunities, because Wands is about our passions, things that set us on fire, light us up, inspire us. And I feel like he has a lot of projects that have both been offered to him and both that he has taken. Again, I feel this film role. I feel like he would like to get more into film, like directing, producing. We may even see, ooh, okay, that's really interesting. His next album may be titled something like, not graduation, but like retirement, leaving, because I feel like the next album from Kendrick Lamar could be the last album. They're giving me the number 3 with Kendrick Lamar, and that's why I feel like it could be like 3 albums that he gives, or like 3 playlists, or 3 of something, or there's 3 projects that he's going to come out with at once. But as I linked to the Eight of Wands and the projects and the opportunities that he's having, there is part of him that wants to draw back, and that's because it's tied to the Two of Swords. Two of Swords is about indecision, blocked emotions, suppression. There is some kind of uncertainty with Kendrick Lamar about how he wants to move forward, and he is not someone who is going to move forward without knowing for sure that what he's doing is right. And unfortunately, because he does have that insecurity of not trusting that what he does is good enough, it takes him a long time to make decisions. Also, Kendrick Lamar is not someone who likes to be rushed. He's not someone that likes to be told what to do. He doesn't like that. He's very unconventional and he likes to do things his own way. So in a funny sense, when he sees people saying, where's the next album, where's the next album, where's the next album, he's like, okay, well, we're just gonna wait a little bit longer, because he doesn't like to meet expectations. I know that's a really weird thing to say, but he doesn't like to meet other people's expectations. So say, for example, someone said, oh, Kendrick's next album is going to be heavily R&B influenced, and say he had already done the whole album and it was R&B influenced. If he read that comment before releasing the album, he would go back to the studio and he would say, scrap the whole thing, because I'm not giving people what they expect. He likes to shock. He likes to make an impression. He likes to wake people up and shake people with his artistry. He doesn't like to give people what they're expecting, because he's such a complex person. He really is, because he doesn't just make music for the sake. He makes music to really enlighten people, to really ignite something in them, to really like wake people up. And so he feels like if he gives people what they're expecting, then it's just like a bit like meh, like that doesn't mean anything. But if he comes in and gives someone, like say you're looking right and you're expecting him to come from the right, he wants to come in from the left and like be like, bam, look at this, and really like, wow. He doesn't do anything half-hearted. Can be to his detriment. So the Two of Swords can talk about self-victimization as well, like, you know, being your own kind of worst enemy sort of thing, blindfolding yourself to your opportunities. He can do that to himself. He can be his own worst enemy because of the pressure that he puts on himself. That's why it takes so long. That's why it's taking so long. But again, not only that, I'm just going to move these over actually. Not only that, but he's also going through things in his personal life. So there's so much to write about. There's so much to talk about. He doesn't know, I feel, how to kind of... He hasn't found his way to kind of the perfect formula to get it all out just yet. He may do a whole playlist or a whole album on the political issues. Then he may do a whole playlist on the issues he's faced being a man, because there are some issues that he has really had to deal with. And actually, I feel part of his delay in this is not only the whole perfectionism thing. I feel like his wife, and I do want to call her his wife now, said to him, you need to take some time out for your family. And that's why I feel like she comes through here as the Queen of Swords. Now, his wife feels like a very strong position in his life. I know she's been in his life for a long time, so she knows him very well. The reason I say that about her is because her card is reverse. Queen of Swords reverse means she's prolonging something, she's delaying it, and it's tied to the Three of Pentacles, which is about making money creatively. I feel like she said, I need you to be here, I need you to be present as a father, as a husband, for at least a year or 2 or 3 or 4. I need you to be in this household. We need to focus on our family, because he is so dedicated to getting his artistry right. He does struggle to, you know, be in a million places at once, and that's this struggle. That's this struggle here as a man, the emperor, the authoritative figure, the father figure, tied to the Nine of Swords, which is again a card of depression, mental health issues. He has struggled with that balance of being a husband, being a musician, being a writer, being a friend, being a cousin, being a father, being all of those different roles, as well as just being himself and feeling his emotions. It feels very overwhelming for Kendrick. Like, I feel Kendrick's had a very overwhelming past 2 or 3 years. It's been a lot of change, and he's having to adapt to that and adapt to, okay, I've got to be at home for these certain amount of hours. I've got to be in the studio for this certain amount of hours. He's really had to work on doing that. He's also dealt with, because of all the emotion, because of all the change, the growth, the transition. I feel like Kendrick's gone through a real spiritual transition here, because I honestly feel like he's been through a lot. Personally, emotionally, this man for the past 2 or 3 years has been through it. I feel like that would be fair to say. Emotionally, spiritually, he's been through a lot, and because of that, he's dealt with a lot of like writer's block, creative block. That card is tied to the Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles is about the life that we build for ourselves, you know, the beautiful life, the luxuries, the glamour, you know. I feel like, again, he looks at that and he feels uncomfortable, A, because of where he's come from, but B, he also feels like, well, where do I go from here, you know? Because he does have a very pure and genuine heart, there is something about striving for more at the position he's in that makes him feel uncomfortable. It makes him feel greedy. It makes him feel... it just makes him feel like, do I actually need to go on with this? And that's why I honestly do feel that the next album could be the last, at least for a good 10 years. Because Kendrick Lamar wants to do more. He wants to move into that mogul-esque kind of energy like P. Diddy and Dr. Dre. And there is an energy of him that feels stressed every time he has to go into the studio because he has to get it so right. And I don't know if he feels that there's much more of that he can go through. Again, I also feel that he wants to do more with his art because he's extremely talented in many different ways. He's a very talented guy, not just in music, in a lot of ways. In writing, again, not just in music, but in scripts, in stories. He wants to branch out and do other things, but again, he's having to just stop. Sometimes when we go through spiritual transitions, spirit will literally just stop us, and it will block every single thing that we have planned in our minds to do, so that we can sit down with ourselves and deal with ourselves emotionally. We can deal with our ego, we can deal with our shadow work, we can deal with ourselves. And I feel like that is something that has happened to Kendrick. I feel like spirit have almost blocked him, made things a lot harder for him, stopped him in his tracks, just so he can just sit with himself and deal with some of these emotions. Because I feel like Kendrick's been through a lot of trauma that he may have not, well, I feel like he might have now, but he hadn't dealt with. And I can see it all in his cards. The emotion, a lot of suppressed emotion that may or may not come out on this album, but this album will be more emotional than the others now. I know he does pour himself into all albums, but there's just something very special and unique about the next album, or albums. Bear that in mind. I do feel that there's going to be a lot of songs released, like a lot, because he has written a lot. Again, it's that expectation thing. He doesn't like expectations being put on him. He doesn't like being a role model. He understands that he is, and he understands the responsibility that comes with it, but it doesn't mean he likes it, because I just feel he really, really doesn't. And so yeah, if this album isn't his last album ever, then I do feel it will be the last one for a while. But they keep giving me July 2021, so keep an eye out for that date in terms of Kendrick Lamar. I do feel like that could be the release of the album. I feel like that's when the album could come, because they are giving me 6 months, and July isn't 6 months, but you know, spirit are always sometimes off at least a month or so. So yeah, I feel drawn to the month of July with him. Now I'm just going to pull 3 cards to Kendrick. 3 moon cards, because like I said, he is intuitive. He is very aware of spirit. He's very aware of energy. So, woo, 3 cards for Kendrick Lamar, please. 3 cards for Kendrick Lamar. That's interesting. Honestly, there's just a lot of emotional stuff. He may have even had to go to therapy, to be honest, and it's not like anything like he's wild, you know, he's not. He's just had to work through a lot of, he's had to heal. There's a lot of things that Kendrick's had to heal from. And I feel like we will hear it in the next album. I feel like he'll even maybe talk about it. Just the healing aspect that he's had to go through. Because he's had to heal himself a lot. 2 more cards, spirit, just on Kendrick. Oh, there we go. Straight away. Interesting. Yeah. That's really interesting. He's a very interesting, intriguing character, I have to say, because he is so private and so reserved. And he doesn't let anything show. Like, you'd have to be extremely, extremely close to this man, or he'd have to really love your energy. He's very into energy and intuition and guidance. He'd have to really love your energy to even open up to you. But when you're in with him, my goodness, he's one of those people that I feel like you could sit with for hours and just be in deep conversation. Like, he is a very deep soul. A lot of people don't understand him because of that. He can sometimes feel very alone because of it. He can sometimes feel, Spirit just giving me the word solitude. But so much depth to Kendrick Lamar, so much depth. New moon in Scorpio. Work through your fears. There is a fear with Kendrick Lamar, like I said, about not being good enough, and also about leaving music behind. There is something that he does want to step away from music slightly. And like I said, that's what he's been working through. So I'm not surprised to see that at all. Scorpio, again, is a water sign, working through your emotions, your feelings, your suppressed feelings, how you feel. He's really had to do that. And he's in no rush. Like I said, he's in no rush. The more people actually hound him about the album, like I said, he doesn't like to be told what to do, the longer he's going to take. Step out of your comfort zone. He is going to do new things. Movies, I see for Kendrick, mainly movies. I don't know whether he's just going to completely shift over and just dedicate himself to film. But he's definitely going to be trying new projects. I see a lot of charitable work, a lot of philanthropy from Kendrick Lamar, because like I said, he really does struggle with that superficial aspect of celebrity where he just feels like it is very like self-indulgent, just all about self, and he's not that kind of person. And your hard work is paying off. So like I said, Kendrick Lamar has longevity. He's going to go the distance. I think we all know that anyway, but I do see him stepping away from music. I do feel like the album is going to come next year, July 2021. Could be more than one album, so hold out for that. I do see a new film coming from Kendrick. Possibly one he's directed and written himself, produced himself. I do see a baby boy around Kendrick. I do feel like he's got married. I just feel like his whole life has just completely changed. And again, he's gone through this healing. So you may actually hear on the next album a lot of references to spirituality. A lot of references to chakras and ego and healing and spirituality, because I feel like he is a spiritual person. Not in like the stereotypical way, but he definitely is connected to spirit. So I hope that answers all your questions, because I feel like that's all I'm going to get. Because let me tell you something, he is very protected spiritually. To read on his energy is not easy. He has a lot of people in spirit that work with him. He's got a massive spirit team. And I feel like when he writes music, they all come through. Yeah, he is, like I said, extremely deep, extremely wise. He's an old soul, but he is going to go the long haul in terms of the industry. Whether he will stay in music, I don't know. He may do from the background, like have his own label and stuff. He's going for that mogul status rather than being in front of the camera, because he does feel uncomfortable with that, and he does want to help people more, so get involved with charity more. So I do hope you've enjoyed this reading, lovelies. Please do hit a lovely thumbs up if you did. Remember to subscribe to join our lovely community. And if you'd like to see more spiritual and psychic content from me, you can follow me over on Instagram at @IamKirstyLewis. If you'd like your own personal and private reading with me, you can just email me at kirstylewisreadings@outlook.com for more information. I will leave you with one of my favourite lyrics actually of all time. I love this lyric. From Dedication by Kendrick Lamar and Nipsey Hussle. Minor setback for major comeback. That's my favourite. Thank you for being with me today, lovelies, and I'll see you soon for another video. Bye!